This is our 3.7-liter Ford Mustang teardown and reassembly at J-Tech. This is Lauren. Bear with us. This is the entire engine assembly before we started tearing it down. We started off by taking the valve covers off. We were inspecting the valve cover gasket for any damage or wear. We could not find any damage or wear. Everything looked good. Now we will be taking the timing chain cover off to expose the timing chain and gears. Alright, so pretty much, we took the time to go over the timing chains, the condition of the chains themselves, the tensioners, and pretty much the overall placement of everything. We made sure to check out the seals of the cover, the overall condition of the cover, and just make sure there's not too much wear on anything. Make sure everything looks good to put it back together. And now we are checking the mating surface of the valve cover and the timing chain cover to the head on the block. Everything looks good, no scratches, no gouges. Next, we'll be taking off the rear main seal. All the steps we're going are per pro demand. So this is us taking out the rear main seal, and we're checking to see if any of these broken. If the seal is still good. We did find a chip on the side of the rear main seal, so we'll have to replace the entire seal. Alright, so pretty much, we're gonna be disassembling the timing chain tensioner. Real hard to say, you know, but nothing special. Now, as you can see, we are taking the timing chain guides off. Now we're checking the timing chain guides and making sure everything's okay with them. In order to remove the timing chain, we had to loosen up 2 of the cam phasers. And now we are just checking the chain for any visible damage. Now we're going to start by disassembling the heads by taking out the oil galleries and taking out the cam phasers and chain. And we got the cam phasers out, and now we're just checking for any damage on the gears and the chain. In this clip, we're just disassembling the cam solenoids. After taking the cam solenoids off, we checked for any wear or excessive wear, but we couldn't find any. And then we're taking off the last two timing chain guides. Now we are disassembling the timing chain pulley. Now we took off the timing chain pulley, and we did find some corrosion on the inside along the seal. We are in the process of taking the camshaft caps off to take the camshaft out. With all the camshafts out, we're going to inspect them to see if the lobes are good, if there's any excessive wear on the outside of them. After taking out the camshafts, we are inspecting the heads. We did find some scratches, but those shouldn't cause any damage. Now with the camshafts removed, we're going to start by removing the head bolts to start taking out the heads. After removing the head, we found that there is no head gaskets, so we will have to put that there. And well, then we inspected the mating surface of the head and the block. And now we're going to be removing the oil pan from the engine block. After taking off the oil pan, we checked all the mating surfaces and there was no damage, but we did find a piece of metal that came from the head. Alright, so in this clip, we're gonna be disassembling the two bolts holding the oil pickup tube to the bottom of the block. As you can see, there's no silicone in that filter. Now we're removing the windage tray. We are checking if anything's misplaced on the bottom of the crank. We did have to hold the crankshaft to be able to take the crank bolt out, to be able to remove the sprocket and the oil pump. We inspected the oil pump and found no damage with the oil pump or the sprocket. In order to remove the pistons, we had to start by taking out the connecting rod caps. With all the connecting rod caps removed, we can start by taking out the main caps. After taking the main cap bolts off, we had to take the support bolts for the main caps. Yes. With the main cap bolts out, it was kind of hard to take out the main cap, so we had to use the main cap bolts to wiggle them out. It was successful. When we took the main caps off, we found that there is no thrust bearing. Then we removed the crankshaft. With everything disassembled and the crankshaft out, we started by pushing out the pistons. After taking the pistons out, we inspected all the rings and if there's any excessive wear on the pistons. We did find some of the rings missing or misplaced or broken. We also found some wear on the rod bearings. That looked up our scores. As we're inspecting the main bearings and the main caps, we could not find any wear or damage. This is all the parts laid out for the 3.7 liter 2017 Mustang engine, all laid out in order. And in a second, we'll show the block. There was no excessive wear And now, on to the reassembly. Now we are installing the crankshaft. We made sure the crankshaft is sitting properly. And now, as you can see, we are installing the main caps and making sure they are oriented correctly. This is us torquing down the main caps bolts. We made sure that the crankshaft turns over smoothly. Right now we are installing the pistons. We did not have the proper tool, which is a ring compressor, so we are using pocket picks. Do not attempt this at home. You are supposed to use the proper tool. This can damage the surface of the block, but we did manage to get it in there without damaging anything. Here, after installing some of the pistons, we are torquing down the connecting rod caps. This is after all the pistons were installed and the connecting rod caps are all torqued down. We were making sure that all the pistons are moving smoothly and the crankshaft is turning over. As you'll see in the next clip, the connecting rod should not be moving like that.
That's fine.
Now it is time to install the windage tray. And this is us torquing the windage tray down. We are missing one of the bolts. Now it is time to install the rear main seal. We are following pro demand. Now, as you can see, we are installing the oil pump and the sprocket. And then also we installed the oil pickup tool, and this is us torquing it down. Now we can reinstall the oil pan. And also torquing it down. Using torque specs and torque pattern from Protoman. Now we have to install the timing chain pulley and then torque down the bolts. This is just an overview of the engine with the bottom end completely reassembled. Now we are able to reinstall the head. We did not have a head gasket to begin with. And then this is torquing down the head bolts. Also following torque pattern from Protoman. Now this is us installing the cams, putting them in a freewheeling position. And then putting all the camshaft caps and the camshaft solenoid back on. And the oil galleries. And we torque down all the bolts. And we check clearance for the cams. The intake camshaft clearance was too tight, but the exhaust camshaft clearance was up to spec. Then we had to turn the intake camshaft to 12 o'clock and the exhaust camshaft to 3 o'clock to start the process of timing. We had to take the oil galleries back off to use the special tool for timing. This is us installing the cam phasers back on the camshafts. The right side went in pretty easily. We did have a hard time installing the left side cam phasers, but we eventually got them installed. Just torquing down the bolts for the cam phasers, and then installing the timing chain. This is after the timing chain was installed, the timing chain guides were installed, and the tensioner. The engine was in time. We couldn't record. We didn't have enough hands. This is installing the timing chain cover. And also torquing down the bolts. Then, this is us installing the valve covers. We also tightened and torqued down the bolts for the valve covers. And then this is the overview of the full reassembled 3.7 liter 2017 Ford Mustang engine. The end, and thank you for watching.